People who live at tourist destinations, what is it you wish tourists would stop doing when visiting? Don't fricka carve your name on stuff. The amount of people who need to carve their names onto historical buildings and statues are just crazy. Don't be an ass. You are ruining the place. And respect people's properties. Yeah, it's a cute street with cute houses and charming gardens. But that does not give you the right to enter people's private properties to peep in their windows, walk in their gardens and try to open their doors. A colleague is selling his house because he's tired of people peeping in their windows and trying to open their door to have a look inside. He got yelled at for being inappropriate while he was sunbathing in his own garden by a tourist who let themselves in the gate and walked around the house to have a look at his garden. Going on the Black Rocks and being swept out to the Atlantic Ocean, risking the lives of first responders and locals, many of whom are already traumatized from Swiss Air. Deface World Heritage sites for souvenirs or internet clout. For example, the Colosseum in Rome has graffiti carved into its walls by arsehole tourists, and Stonehenge is closed off to the public because arseholes were chipping pieces off for souvenirs. For your sake, stop trying to pet the buffalo. Or don't, some of us are entertained by the videos of you flying through the air. Stopping their cars in the middle of the road to take in a view. WTF? I paid a lot to be here. Change, blank, or I'll leave a horrible review. Driving like a dickhead, leaving garbage anywhere but a rubbish bin, stopping in the middle of the road to let out your family of 12 instead of pulling into the parking lot. I have a lot of stories. I live in Hawaii and work only with tourists. Best yet, my company was asked to contact the cruise ship company to have them move the ship because it disrupted the sunset. Driving drunk. I live in Sonoma County, California. Make sure you've got a sober driver FFS. The roads around here are never more dangerous than winery tasting room closing time on a sunny weekend. Edit, so many fellow locals in this thread. Hello neighbors. Be safe out there, no matter where you are. In my hometown, it somehow became a thing that tourists would rent mopeds. So when you are trying to get to work, you often get stuck behind a flock of tourists on mopeds, riding at 20 miles per hour in formation so you cannot pass them. We are infested with gawking tourists' moped gangs. If they want to rent mopeds, at least go the speed limit, and ride in a manner that allows others to pass you. Stop feeding the damn seagulls. Spain. We get a shit-fuckton of tourists. Very well behaved for the most part where I am. So, thanks for doing it right, tourists. The worst is littering on the beach, which is thankfully pretty rare. I occasionally see someone put a cigarette butt in the sand. A lot are taken away when they leave, but the sand has a way of hiding stuff, so a lot remain. I'll give you tourists one tip. Night swimming. If you put your keys, glasses, etc. down in the sand, they're gone. Between the sand and the dark, you'll never see them again. These comments make me feel like a good tourist. Stop walking out into the middle of an active downtown street to take group pictures of yourselves in cheerleading outfits on the spot where Kennedy was shot. Clean up your fucking trash. I used to live in a spring break destination which was a small surf town. After spring break, people would be cleaning up pounds upon pounds of beer cans, broken bottles, needles, used condoms, fucking revolting. Edit for unit pickers, I meant stop throwing your garbage on the ground. There, now get off my cheeks. Amsterdam. Walking around like they're at Legoland, blindly stepping into traffic, oblivious to the fact that people actually live here. We use the bike to get to work, to get groceries, we're not just aimlessly cycling around for the fun of it. Stopping dead in a crowd in the middle of the sidewalk. How attractive would you say you are? According to Grandma, I'm a 10. In reality, probably like 5 at best. I have a face for radio and a voice for the shower. My mom says any woman would be lucky to have me. So maybe a 3. I'm a goofy-looking bastard. I look like a movie star. Movie star Sloth was from the Goonies. No idea. I'm always curious what someone's first impression of me is. This thread would be so much better if the people who responded were required to post a picture with their response. Average, but for almost 40 I get a lot of people thinking I'm 30. I'll take it. I hate to brag but I'm a solid 2. I think of attractiveness like Halloween candy, everybody has their own preferences. Am I a generally universally sought after Twix? No, I'm not that fortunate. That said, I'm not a whopper either, yeesh. I think I'm like an almond joy or something, it's fine but not likely to be a first pick to most folks. Edit, my apologies to the whoppers community. A pretty girl called me a dime piece on Monday, so I'll ride that high the rest of my life. I used to be quite attractive and got a lot of attention when I was young. I straightened my teeth, had a good face, long blonde hair, and a very toned body. Now I'm in my 50s, overweight, and completely unremarkable. It was tough for a while, but I have good self-esteem now. Probably better than when I was young and beautiful. In Miami I'm a 4. In Tallahassee I'm a 7.5. If I return to my hometown, it will be a 10. I have a complete set of teeth and am not overweight. I'll give myself a solid 4/10. I'm not bottom of the barrel, but I'm certainly not anywhere close to the top. What is a useless skill that you have? Identifying cars make/model by their headlights at night. Edit, tail lights too. I do a really good impression of Teddy from Bob's Burgers. I can identify faces very easily even with age. People I've seen once in a film 40 years ago I'll see again in something current and say, oh, that's the guy who played the third terrorist in that film from 1980. It's bizarre. I can do a wave with my eyebrows. I know a lot of random things about animals. Both extinct and living. I can lick elbows. Competitive minesweeper. Was 15th in the world at one point. I can play a blade of grass. Also I can smell ants. Apparently it's like a genetic thing. They kind of smell like an earthy sulfur. They smell awful. I hate them. Edit, OMG the upvotes and awards. Thank you LMAO. I wish I could respond to every comment, you guys are fucking hilarious. To answer some questions, it's usually always the small and big black ants that infestate houses. I can usually smell the smell like a few days before they start showing up. Like I said, they smell awful and earthy, very musty too. But it's such a distinct and unique smell I really can't describe it better than that, maybe add bitter, too. I hate bug guts so I don't usually squash them, but if they do get squashed, I'm not actually sure if the smell gets stronger. In a weird way I almost want to say it makes them smell less, but that's not something I've ever thought about before so I don't really know lol. I found this out BC I felt crazy that no one else in my house could smell it and that I always smelled it every time the ants came, so I actually googled can humans smell ants? And to my surprise it says some people actually can. But it is absolutely hilarious the two groups of people replying, one is like wait other people can smell ants? I thought it was just me and the other group is wait people can smell ants? That's a thing? I'm glad I could teach you all something, however ridiculously dumb it may be. Another edit, people have brought up some great points that it could be pheromones. I've seen the ant death march thing when you mess up their pheromones so I know it's important to them, so I'm gonna look into that. I've worked in a deli most of my life. I can weigh things in grams eerily accurately with just my hands. Some customers get pretty kind blown. I can pronounce the Welsh town of Llanfairpwllgwyngyl Gogerich Werndrabol Lantysilio Gagagok coherently and without hesitation. I can wiggle my ears. Ability to sneeze with 118 decibels measured. 120 is already threshold of pain as an interesting fact. I can send and receive Morse code at 65 plus words per minute. Completely pointless skill. I can always find the most in the way place near anyone who is busy.